Iconic is a word I don't throw around lightly. You don't just get that label, you have to earn it. You have to be the best of the best, the king of your space. So when I say Daytona USA is iconic, I mean that shit. Released in 1994 and developed by the legendary Sega AM2, this is the arcade racing game. From the Hornet to the opening track to the cabinet itself. But let's be real, nothing compares to that soundtrack. Back in 1994, arcades were still the place to experience cutting-edge games, and Daytona USA didn't just show up, it set a new standard. Built on Sega Model 2 hardware, this game pushed visuals, performance, and scale in a way that felt unreal at the time. We're talking textured polygons, smooth frame rates, dozens of cars on screens. Today that sounds normal. Back then, this was mind-blowing. At its core, Daytona USA is exactly what an arcade racer should be. Simple, fast, addictive. You put in your quarter, you pick your car, and you try not to embarrass yourself on the first turn. And you will fail. A lot. Because like most arcade racers, this is a time-based challenge. You're racing the clock, but also trying to place against other drivers. And the real magic? The handling. The drifting in the game feels incredible. It's loose, responsive, and just exaggerated enough to be fun without feeling broken or too hardcore. It's one of those easy to learn, hard to master systems that keep pulling you back in. Now, yeah, car variety, not exactly the strong suit. Do you want the normal stock car, a slightly different stock car, or a stock car with either a manual or automatic transmission? Congratulations, those are your choices. But honestly, that's not the point. It's NASCAR, right? Or NASCAR-like, so you're not going to get that much variety of cars anyway. Let's talk visuals. In 1994, this game looked incredible. The reflections, the cars, the environments, everything popped in a way that felt next generation. Now yes, by today's standards, it's showing its age. Draw distance is rough, textures are low res, but somehow it still works. The bright colors, the clean shapes, the overall presentation, it still looks like what you imagine someone would say arcade racing game would be. And that sense of speed, still fantastic. Between the rumble of the cabinet, the motion blur of the environment, and the pacing of the track, you feel like you're flying. If the graphics defined the experience, the sound made it unforgettable. Again, powered by the Model 2 hardware, this game delivered audio that stuck with people for decades, and of course, that song. For a certain generation, that's not just music, that's a memory trigger. Arcade quarters, friends standing behind you waiting for their turn, it's pure nostalgia. The engine sounds, the crashes, yeah, they're dated now, but they still carry weight, and the music, still legendary. So this game has some iconic arcade gameplay, excellent drifting mechanics, it has a strong sense of speed, a legendary soundtrack, and timeless pick-up and play design. But, you know, it's very limited in car variety. It is showing its age quite a lot visually, and there's a lot of heavy rubber banding on this game. Again, it's an arcade racer. But here's the thing, comparing this to modern racing games misses the point. This isn't trying to be a deep sim, it's trying to take your quarters, and it does that extremely well. The real experience comes from the arcade cabinet, the wheels, the pedals, the seat, something you just can't fully replicate at home unless you've got a full sim rig sitting in your living room. But I don't want you to think that it's not a good game because it doesn't have those things if you're playing not at a cabinet. It's still a fun game. Daytona USA is a perfect arcade racer. It's fast, it's fun, it's immediately accessible. And most importantly, it still holds up. Even today, you can jump in, play a few races, and have a great time. That's not something every game from 1994 can say. Does it compare with modern racers feature to feature? No, it doesn't need to. Because what it does perfectly. So yeah, this lands at number 5 on the list, and honestly, that feels right. Because no matter where you play it, arcade, console, PC, you're probably going to walk away smiling. And maybe, just maybe, that song stuck in your head again. This is Four Wheel Thunder, a Dreamcast-era off-road racer developed by Callisto Entertainment, and apparently this is connected to Hydro Thunder. Yeah, I didn't believe that either. But once you see the boost canisters and the word Thunder slapped on the box, it starts to make sense. Fortunately, that's where the similarities end, because this is no Hydro Thunder. Released in 2000, Four Wheel Thunder tries to bring that arcade style over-the-top racing energy to off-road tracks. And on paper, that sounds great. Big vehicles, dirt tracks, boosts, chaos, but in reality, it feels like someone described Hydro Thunder over the phone, and this is what showed up in the mail. Honestly, I see people have nostalgia for this one, so 1, I'm sorry for this review I'm about to give you, and 2, play this now. Go on. Try it. Play it now and tell me what you think. So first things first, this isn't really a traditional racer. It's more of a time attack game pretending to be a racer. Think Daytona USA. You've got to beat the clock every lap while also somehow finishing it first. Simple enough, right? Wrong. This game is brutal. You have to grab boost canisters just to keep up, not to win, just to survive the lap. And even when you get them, good luck controlling your car. These vehicles feel squirrely to say the least, like you're steering a Ritalin-induced rodent down a dirt road. I started with the SUV and it was borderline uncontrollable. I'm fighting oversteer like I'm that dude in that Chevy Cavalier that put underglow on and that fake rattle-canned hood scoop in the late 90s we all remember. You know that guy. So I switched to the Jeep looking vehicle and yeah, it's better, but the game is still punishing for no reason. Also, why do the AI cars start halfway across the map? Like seriously, look at this. The guy in first is halfway through the lap before I even hit second gear. How am I supposed to catch up to that? And arcade racers shouldn't feel like I'm trying to qualify for a professional rally league. At some point, you have to ask, is this game broken? Or am I just bad? I mean, it's probably both, but honestly, this feels like the definition of a rental game. You play it once, maybe laugh with a friend, and then never think about it again. Graphically, it's fine. Nothing here is officially licensed, but you can kind of tell what each vehicle is supposed to be. The environments have some nice touches, tumbleweeds, birds, crowds. It gives the tracks a little bit of life, but overall it looks like an off-road version of Hydro Thunder, just with less impact. The boost effect, underwhelming. Sense of speed, also underwhelming. Track design? Yeah, you guessed it, underwhelming. But hey, at least it's better than the gameplay. And then there's the sound design, which shockingly is also underwhelming. The crowd noise is decent, the engine sounds are fine, the music, let's just say they exist. Nothing here is offensive, but nothing stands out either. It's the most middle-of-the-road audio package you could possibly imagine. The whole game feels like it was engineered to be aggressively average. So, I mean, this game, it looks decent, it can be fun in short bursts, and the arcade-style structure has potential. But the awkward, slippery handling of the vehicles and the brutal, unbalanced difficulty, along with the over-reliance on boost mechanics and very little depth or content, at its core, the game is just functional. It's not broken, it runs, it works, but it's also dangerously close to feeling like shovelware. Everything ranges from average to just plain frustrating. So yeah, Four Wheel Thunder. The moment I saw the boost canisters, the Hydro Thunder connection finally clicked. And honestly, they probably should have distanced themselves from that as much as possible, because this game doesn't live up to that legacy in any meaningful way. At best, it's a frustrating little time attack racer that ends up buried in the bottom drawer of your collection. Not the worst game I played, but it's definitely trying to be the worst game I ever played. This lands at number 21 on the list. I had high hopes for the Dreamcast, and don't worry, it does get better from here, just not with this one. The Asphalt series is kind of weird. If you grew up in the early mobile gaming era, you already know Game Loft. They were everywhere, and for a while, Asphalt was one of the best racing series you could have in your pocket. I remember playing it on the DS, playing it on the early iPhones, back when it was just a solid arcade racer, before everything turned into microtransactions and pay $4.99 to breathe. So when I saw Asphalt 3D on the 3DS, I was excited and also fully prepared to be disappointed, and honestly, that lands somewhere right in the middle. Released in 2011 for the Nintendo 3DS, Asphalt 3D doesn't really feel like a 3DS game, and there's a reason for that. It's basically a port of Asphalt 6 Adrenaline from mobile, so right away, you're dealing with a game that was designed for phones and then just kind of placed into a handheld console. You can already see where this is going. At its core, this is a very standard arcade racer. No microtransactions, thankfully. You can just race, earn money, upgrade cars, progress through a career. Simple, clean, almost too simple. You've got drifting, boosting, shortcuts, power-ups, and a few different modes like time trial, head-to-head racing, and vigilante missions. Which sounds like variety, until you realize they all just kind of feel the same. The vigilante missions in particular, very rough. You're supposed to take out other racers, but the collision system is so inconsistent that it feels random and broken. Sometimes you slam into a car and nothing happens, other times you gently exist near them and they explode like you just hit them with a missile. And the crashes? They're clearly trying to copy that slow motion impact style from Burnout, but instead it looks like the game froze for a second and then just remembered it had a job to do. Like, even the police chases feel half-baked. Cops just appear behind you, bounce around like they don't understand physics, crash into everything, disappear, and then come back like nothing happened. It's chaos, but not the fun kind. Still, credit where it's due. The controls are actually decent. Drifting works, mostly, and despite some heavy rubber banding, I never felt like I lost because the AI cheated. If I lost, it was usually on me, which already puts it ahead of some of the other games we've talked about. This is where things really fall apart. The graphics are rough. Everything looks blocky, low res, and honestly below what the 3DS was capable of. The frame rate struggles, cars jerk around, and cutting through traffic feels like the game might just give up mid-race. Like, look at this turn. How the hell did this car even do that? Also the decals. What are these? Who approved this? Now, is it the ugliest game ever? No. On a small screen, maybe with 3D effects on, it's serviceable, but it's definitely not doing the system any favors. The sound design is exactly what you expect at this point. The voice acting is trying very hard to give off that high energy Burnout style vibe, and I respect the effort, but it never quite lands. Engine sounds are fine, traffic noise is fine, music is there, nothing is offensive, but nothing stands out either. It's the definition of just okay. I mean, the game has a solid, simple arcade racing structure. No microtransactions, decent controls, and plenty of cars and content. But it feels like a rushed mobile port, janky collision and crash mechanics, weak visuals and performances, and lacks originality or depth. This game works, it functions, it's even a little addictive at times, but never goes beyond just good enough. Asphalt 3D feels like a checklist game. Do we have a racing game on a 3DS? Yes. Good enough. Ship it. It's not broken, for the most part. It's not terrible, it's just uninspired. And that's kind of the biggest problem. Gameloft built their reputation by bringing console-style experiences to mobile. But by the time this released, the rest of the industry was catching up, and this feels like they got left behind. Weird. Still, if this was the only racing game you had, you could do a lot worse. It's playable, it's occasionally fun, it just never excels. So where does it land? It's better than 4-Wheel Thunder. Better than Atari cards, and even compared to something like Juiced, this at least feels better, but it's not touching 80s overdrive. That game has style, this one doesn't. So for now, this sits at number 16 on the list, right in the middle, which honestly feels perfectly appropriate for this title. Every once in a while, you stumble across a game you've never played, not because it's rare, but because nothing about it ever made you care. Maybe it was the box art, maybe it was the console, maybe you just walked past it at Blockbuster and went, nah. That brings us to 4x4 Evo II. Developed by Terminal Reality and released in 2001, surprisingly, this one's actually pretty interesting. At its core, 4x4 Evo II is an off-road racer, but it doesn't fully commit to being arcade and it doesn't fully commit to being a sim either. It kind of lives in that weird middle ground, like a budget version of Gran Turismo, but with mud instead of asphalt. You've got licensed vehicles, upgrades, tunings, and even a progression system where, yes, you actually have to pay to enter races. If you're broke, go do side jobs. At least you don't have to wash your car. Oh wait, well at least washing your truck isn't a side job. Right away, one of the coolest things here is the licensed vehicles. You've got brands like Toyota, Nissan, Dodge, and a mix of everyday SUVs alongside more serious off-road machines. The catch? The really cool stuff, yeah, you're not getting that anytime soon. You gotta earn that. But that's where the game actually shines. The upgrade system is deep. You're not just slapping on parts randomly, you're actually learning what they do, how they affect your handling, and how to tune your vehicle for different terrains. Because this isn't just hold the accelerator and pray. You have to manage speed, take turns carefully, understand terrain, and build your vehicle strategically. The tracks aren't fully open world, but the checkpoints are spaced far enough that you can kind of take your own path. Want to cut through the wilderness? Go for it. Want to play it safe? That's an option too. Now yes, the handling is a little floaty, a little squirrely, but unlike 4-Wheel Thunder, you can actually fix it with tuning. And once you dial things in, it kinda clicks. The career mode is way deeper than it has any right to be. It's not the most exciting racer ever made, but it's the kind of game that quietly hooks you for hours. Now the graphics. They're not amazing, they're not bad either, just kind of there, which is a little disappointing because the GameCube could definitely do better, but where the game does shine is in the details. The vehicles look great, and more importantly, your upgrades actually show up on your truck and have meaning. And, that's a big deal for the time. You install a part, you see it. Simple idea, but it adds a lot to the immersion. The environments, though, they're a bit bland. They lean towards realism, which means you're not getting anything flashy over the top, no volcanoes, no insane set pieces, just dirt hills and occasionally collapsing structures. That said, the track design itself is pretty excellent. Lots of environmental changes, hazards, and creative routes. So while the world might look a little boring, they're actually really fun to drive through. Sound design is pretty solid. The engines have weight to them, they change depending on terrain and camera angles, there's environmental audio, and everything feels appropriately rugged. The music, it's fine. Nothing you're adding to a playlist later, but it does the job. Overall, it's a competent audio package, which at this point feels like a win. So I like the deep upgrade and tuning system along with the licensed vehicles, rewarding progression, and open-ended track design that makes this game really fun to play. But it is floaty, slightly awkward with its handling. Visually, it's underwhelming, along with its environments, and not the most exciting moment-to-moment gameplay. This game isn't flashy, but it's not trying to blow you away, right? It's just quietly well made, like a dad game disguised as an arcade racer. Think about like an early version of SnowRunner. 4x4 Evo 2 honestly surprised me, not because of its presentation, and not because of its controls, those are just fine, but because of its progression and balance. The AI doesn't feel cheap, it's not constantly rubber banding into oblivion, it's not unfair, it just waits for you to mess up, and if you lose, it actually feels like it's your fault, which is rare. This game rewards patience, planning, and understanding how your vehicle works, and because of that, it ends up being way more engaging than expected. It's easily better than 4-Wheel Thunder, better than Asphalt 3D. Now, is it better than Art of Rally? That game has style. This one doesn't, but in terms of mechanics and depth, it's closer than you think. Still, I don't think it beats Rad Racer. That game just nails that feel. So for now, this lands at number 12 on the list.